Get on the train before it leaves the station. The truth train is coming, gonna run them down, run them down.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? Merry Christmas from Avery Road, right? We all know that Avery Road is also a somewhat metaphysical place, or a place in our heart and minds, because we recognize the injustice that's been done here. So that's why this video is named
We Live on Avery Road.
Had a lot of fun today. December 14th, we started out over at the Queen Mary. I'll show you guys a little clip of that in a second. Started out over there, hanging out over there. It's an impressive ship. It's been a while since I've been over there to see the Queen Mary. We think we're going to go back there in February, on February 29th, leap year, actually. We're going to see if we're going to try and go back and go there again. But this time we're going to actually, I think, see if me and the Hod can rent rooms on the ship and stuff, and we can maybe go around on the inside of the ship and have some fun there. So thinking of some things with that, but had some fun at the Queen Mary. Did some little videos and stuff that some of you may have seen on Twitter. I'll show you one or so here, and we just had a blast. And then we went out afterwards to eat. We went to a Denny's. I had the lumberjack slam and ate myself full. Sat around, talked and stuff like that. It was just, good time. I love hanging out with Julie PomPom, and I love hanging out with Rhonda South. She's they're both a lot of fun. They're both very passionate about Stephen and Brendan, and so they're just really cool people to be around. So love hanging out with them whenever we get the chance. So obviously February 29th is going to be the next event, so we'll hope that's going to be a pretty successful event. So we were there today. We left there. We went and ate, like I said, and then we ended up going back over to Julie's house. And Julie made us dinner, and it was delicious. I was still like halfway full from my lumberjack slam, but it was delicious. It's absolutely delicious. And then we did a little video there that I'm going to show you guys today, with the three of us. And so, but before I get to that video, I want to go ahead and show you just to hear a little clip of us at the Queen Mary, real quick. Here we go. And here we are, got the Justice Mobile magnets over here at the Queen Mary. Go around and see the other magnet here. So there we go, representing. And there it is, the Queen Mary in the background. Pretty it's a really awesome looking ship. I mean, considering it wasn't built yesterday, it's very impressive. Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey banner. But we're also out here with the Scottish flag, folks. You know why that is? That's because this boat was built by the Scots. Something that Sharon Sunshine was very keen to point out to me when we had this idea. So, all right. For everybody supporting Stephen and Brendan, like and share this tweet. Thank you. All right. So as I said, we had a blast. I was tweeting that out, and I had, of course, Miss Sharon Sunshine over there in Scotland. Was loving it. They're lying rampant, and we were talking about the fact that the Scots had built the Queen Mary. Look, a lot of you, if you're following what I've been talking about over on my other channel, my Doctor Who channel, you'll know why she was particularly amused by that. Anyways, so we had just a great time. I mean, I love going out and doing this because, number one, I get to, bring out the banner that we had made in Australia that's now traveled from Australia to here to the United States, over to Manitowoc, back to the West Coast. I mean, eventually we're going to get this thing over to Scotland. This banner is for me and Paul and Mark and Stacy and for many other supporters of Stephen and Brendan who have, watched us lug this thing around and have fun with it. it's a symbol, of us wanting to create awareness for Stephen and Brendan, in any ways, in all ways we can. And so the banner, as it gets more and more traveled, just becomes more and more, valuable to me. Maybe sentimentally, but hey, no matter what, I love being able to go around with this thing. I got Juju PomPom, or Juju PomPom on Twitter, and I got Rhonda, or Peaches Nana, on Twitter, and I love it. I mean, and last time when we went over to Universal City Walk, we got to meet up with Falcon. Great guy, super cool dude. He wanted to make it this time, but he couldn't. So part of the reason why we didn't end up going to downtown Disney was just because it seemed like this time wasn't working out. Lots of people couldn't make it, and so we figured it'd probably just be better to let it be, and we'll do these events next time when Mark's here in the end of February. So that's what we thought. So we went to Julie's house. Like I said, she made us a spectacular dinner, and while we were there, her and I and Rhonda recorded a short little video as Wrecking Crew members, to just talk about our hopes for Stephen and Brendan. So without further ado, here it is. All right, hello everybody, how you doing? We're doing a little video here, Christmas time, from Avery Road. And obviously Avery Road is a frame of mind, or a state of mind, for those of us who see the injustice that's been done to Stephen and Brendan. And those of you who all sent your pictures into Stacy when he was composing his song "We All Live on Avery Road," you probably know what I'm talking about. And hey, who knows, maybe even we might get Miss Carla Chase to run over to the salvage yard this year, and with everybody together, and maybe they can do a little 5 or 10 minute video and say Merry Christmas to everybody. All right, she's probably gonna kill me now, but anyway. so hello, we're here with Rhonda and Julie, Wrecking Crew members. Christmas time on Avery Road. Basically, we wanted to talk a little bit about, obviously, some well wishes for hopefully some success for Stephen and his appeal, which is currently, with the Court of Appeals. We also would like to talk a little bit about Brendan, and obviously we hope that his clemency is going to find some purchase, and we're going to finally at least see him get out of jail, because I think he's got I think he has some prospects. He's going to be able to support himself doing something he really likes to do. So I'm really excited for Brendan if he does get out, so I really would like to see that. But that's what we're going to talk about a little bit. So what about, I guess we'll start off with Avery's appeal. What are your biggest hopes right now for Avery and his appeal, Rhonda?
Oh gosh, same as everybody. Just I just hope it ends with this one, because this is ridiculous, and so I just hope that this is the last hurdle that has to be crossed to get some success finally, and some hope. Hope for Stephen, because I can't imagine the strength that it takes to remain hopeful in a world where most people would be hopeless.
Yeah.
And so that's my hope, that he will finally be able to put it all to rest with this last one and be done with it, and then we can have a late Christmas wish that he will be able to come home.
Right. I do hope that as well, but knowing the courts.
You're gonna dash my hopes right now.
Well,
I'm not dashing.
No.
I share your hope.
It's realistic.
I share it.
The good thing is that it's not the circuit court now.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
the Court of
Court of
Appeals.
Appeals.
Right.
And so far, it seems like the Court of Appeals has been pretty good at actually considering what's there.
Right.
And looking at the substance of it, and not just doing the, no.
And they seem
Like
very
what's been being
unamused
done.
with some of the state's arguments.
Exactly. So I'm
and
really,
showing how unamused they were, I thought, was telling.
yes,
Yes.
I agree. So I'm really
So-
looking forward to the state's
Ordinarily, they'll be unamused and they'll just not let on. They'll just
Yeah.
make a decision that basically whatever. They won't usually go to the trouble of kind of putting in their decision that they have some, negative feelings regarding it. They would usually leave that sort of stuff out. So the fact that they didn't, to me, is meaningful. So, yeah.
Yes.
But obviously, he's got a lot of things going on this appeal. It's including pretty much everything from the original motion, the original 1,200-page motion. Now, granted, a lot of those 1,200 pages were exhibits and various affidavits and scientific things and whatever that she was using to bolster her arguments. So, but there was a lot of points in there, and Travis and I have gone over that, most of it before. Actually, we still need to finish the slideshow on those. But anyways, but that's all right. We'll get there. But we've covered the main base of that motion. We've covered the main issues in it, the first 4 or 5 sections of it, and we've gone over the main issues. We were all the way up to Brady. So those and the Brady is factors highly in this appeal as well. 6 Brady violations are on the plate. So, and one of those is that damn CD that was in Tom Fassbender's personal custody for 12 years. Yeah. So, hopefully we're going to find some purchase with these various claims. She has the evidence that came out against Scott and Bobby and those things that she filed that were just not even considered really. So those things are on the plate. Obviously there's a lot of things going here. So to me, with all the things that she's pointed out, it just stands to reason that at least a few of them are gonna find purchase, for lack of a better phrase, that are gonna have some teeth and have some bite, and actually end up in an evidentiary hearing, or I think it's wishful thinking, but maybe even triggering a new trial right away. I don't think that would happen here. I think an evidentiary hearing is definitely going to be the first step. I don't think they'll just jump right to the second thing I said. So, but that's my personal feelings. Julie?
I agree. I agree with that. I'm definitely looking forward to what the state has to say. I'm very interested in looking that over.
Yeah.
But I agree that it would be nice if we could just jump straight to having a new trial granted. But I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think an evidentiary hearing is more likely to be granted, if anything at all. But a girl can dream.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
my dreams are lofty.
yes, a girl can dream, and I'm kind of hoping that will happen. But it's a step, and I think that Stephen's position right now is good for what it can be.
Yeah.
And
Kezia has sufficiently shot a great deal of holes through this narrative.
yes.
The 1.9 grams of DNA on the hood latch. That is such a huge problem. Huge, and it's only the hood latch. It's like, why didn't you guys? If he was touching that, he would have been touching other things, guys. Why didn't you swab those things? Is it because you only had one?
It's because it's on the swab. It's not on the hood latch.
Yeah,
it's on the swab.
exactly. You only had one swab left over, so
That's my suspicion.
Yeah.
So only one item could have Stephen's DNA on it. So I think that would probably explain why, right? But anyways,
Yep.
So there's that. There's the bullet having wood particles and paint particles and not any bone or flesh or anything like that you would expect if it went through a human body. On and on it goes. Just the original things we know after watching Megan Murray. There's no trace of Teresa anywhere in that trailer or garage. Nothing. No hair. Nothing. Not the slightest hint that she was ever there, at all. And there's that. But to get back to the things she's bringing up, the hiding the CD for 12 years, the way that they held back Detective Veely's, forensic analysis of the Dassey computer, and called it Brendan's computer instead of the Dassey computer. All of the misdirection that the state was using because they knew that computer would have Bobby Dassey flying right back in their face, not as their best witness, but as their worst nightmare. Okay? Because he would have suddenly been raised to Denny level. He would not have been able to be their star witness and place Teresa at the salvage yard. And he would have suddenly become a alternate person who committed this crime, which would have put the state's case in jeopardy. So that's two things that's two ways that they would not want that to happen with Bobby Dassey. And so they had a very, very strong interest in wanting to keep that buried, and they did. And they did it by keeping that CD in Tom Fassbender's personal custody for 12 years. You know, and what they did decide to hand over, they handed over like literally less than 2 months before trial, less than a month before Denny was decided. They handed all this stuff over. These two lawyers who are getting ready for trial are supposed to go through an entire hard drive themselves with a program that they don't even have in case, which is what you would have needed to review the files that were sent to them, and on it goes. It's just, and Ken Kratz saying there's nothing of evidentiary value there, on and on and on. The dishonesty with it all, over and over and over again. This is what's ultimately, in my opinion, going to work in Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey's favor, because the state has been proven to be dishonest over and over and over again. Any thoughts on that?
The court needs to hear these things because the court has never heard them during trial. A jury has never heard these things, and that is the problem. And this is what Kathleen is trying to make happen. A jury should hear these things because both of them, Stephen and Brendan, were convicted without the jury having heard any of these facts that were withheld, and most of which the attorneys that were defending them didn't know these things existed, and now they do. So a jury needs to hear these things, and so
because most defendants don't have the resources that the state does.
exactly.
So they've been counting on all this time.
Right.
It's huge, folks. Stephen Avery had $240,000 for a defense. You guys know that the state of Wisconsin spent over $1 million convicting him. Could any of us do anything against the state spending over $1 million to convict us?
I couldn't.
What could we do?
Pray for the best.
You know what I mean? I mean, there should be some limit, some cap. This is something that I think the justice system needs to start thinking about too. There should be some cap. If you're going to let the prosecution spend $1 million, well then the prosecution should divvy up some money for the defense. Or they should not hide the results of their experts, like Detective Veely, and they should share them, because
they're supposed to do.
part of that over $1 million went into paying Detective Veely to do that work.
Yeah.
Okay, but then they don't want to share it. So you see,
Because it's devastating in our case.
Because it cuts their case open.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
and so
Can't share it.
and so yeah, like I said, over and over and over again, when you look at the dishonest tactics over and over and over again, that's really ultimately what brought me around on Stephen. You know, I had trouble. Everybody, I've told you guys all this before. You know, I had trouble with Stephen for 8 months. I undoubtedly thought he deserved a new trial because I didn't like what I'd seen in Making a Murderer. But Making a Murderer didn't convince me he was innocent. It took me 8 months of going through documents before and looking at that blood in the RAV4, and looking at that blood in the RAV4, and looking at that blood in the RAV4 500 ways from Sunday until I've had a theory of how I could explain it. And the theory actually works better than the active bleed theory. A lot better than the active bleed theory. So when I ultimately reached that point, then I was like, Stephen's innocent. And it's funny, I was going down, I was driving home from work the other day, and I had my Justice Mobile stick magnets on my car, and a gentleman pulled up beside me. We were in traffic. He pulls up beside me, he rolls down his passenger window because he was on my driver's side. He starts rolling it down, and he's like, hey! He's like, are you family? And he's like pointing at my magnets. And I'm like, oh, I go, no, I'm not family. He goes, what's up? I go, I'm just a supporter. I go, I've watched the documentary. I've read the documents and stuff. Folks, it was literally a traffic jam, so we were able to have this conversation. And
Southern California.
Yeah. So he's like, oh wow, yeah, okay. And I started talking to him about Brendan, obviously what I thought about Brendan, that the confession was BS, and that's why I believe he was innocent, and started to explain to him that, it took me a little longer with Stephen, but eventually when I was reading the documents, I developed an opinion, and I believe Stephen to be innocent. And so this guy was like, oh wow. I go, tell you what, check out my YouTube channel. And I had business cards in my car, folks. So I grabbed him a couple business cards, and him and I just kind of inched a little bit closer, and I reached over and gave him a couple business cards. And so hopefully that gentleman's gone home and checked me out. But that was the kind of stuff that the Justice Mobile Magnets, I was hoping would kind of happen with the Justice Mobile Magnets, and they did exactly what they were supposed to there. It was awesome. It was fun. I always like to, the dude was just so, he was so animated and like happy to like be talking to me about it. It was fun. I just love to see that. So that
It's
was
like
awesome.
the control question T-shirt.
Yeah.
Ask me about the control question.
Right.
It invites a conversation.
Yeah, definitely does.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was awesome. Wanted to share that story with everybody just because it was so cool. So
That's great.
that's what it's like at Christmas time on Avery Road, folks. Like I said, it's a state of mind. And for those of us who support Stephen and Brendan, you know, Avery Road is kind of a place in our minds and in our hearts, as well as a physical place over in Two Rivers, Wisconsin. And like I said, Ms. Carla Chase, I hope you're going to go over and get everybody a special treat from the yard this year. I know you want to kill me right now, but
No pressure.
so.
Yeah.
No
But
pressure.
still, I want you. We'd all love to hear Merry Christmas from Dolores and Alan, Chuck, and everybody. You know, it would be awesome if you guys could all get together and just do a little something, little 1 minute, 2 minute, hey, Merry Christmas, everybody, would be awesome. So I know you want to kill me, but hey, just remember, you came up and slapped me in the back of the head at rally, so you owe me one.
You probably deserved it.
Yeah, well. Anyway.
It's gonna work in his favor.
No good deed goes unpunished. So, all right. So, do we want to try and sing a verse of Illusion of
I
Justice?
don't want to sing. Okay.
We all can't sing together.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. It's indefensible. Oh, now what they did.
I can't sing it without the music. Where's
Convict an innocent man twice with a 16-year-old kid. We can't turn away,
so I can hear it.
pretending all the pieces fit. Oh, but if we turn away, we let them get away with it. Yeah, see, there you go.
See, that's my favorite part, but when I'm hearing him sing it
hard.
just fills me up, and I can't help but sing it. But when I'm trying to
You don't
sing it
know it.
without the music,
Right.
I can't.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
I have difficulty too, but there's a few of his songs that I can do a cappella, and that's one of them.
I do love that song. If it was playing, it would have been a lot easier
Yeah.
because, like I said, it plays, and it's automatic. You know,
Yeah.
it just happens.
All right. Well, Merry Christmas from Avery Road, everybody. We've had a great time today hanging out, taking the banner around, which you see behind us, and we had a lot of fun down at the Queen Mary. We had some good food today. We had an absolute blast. We have something coming up in February, folks, that may be indeed special indeed. We may have something really, really cool for February 29th, which is leap year this year, folks, which makes it even more fun. So be looking out for that. I know some of you may be intrigued what the special thing is. I won't tell you what it is until it's absolutely set in concrete. So,
And it's not pom-pom hats this time.
I still
It's
haven't got mine.
much better
the
than
special
that.
surprise is not that. But
No,
hey,
it's
the
much better.
pom-pom hats are cool too, folks.
They are. They're really cool.
I'm excited for mine.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
Want to say
you.
goodbye to everybody?
Bye,
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for checking in.
Merry
Bye,
Christmas.
guys.
Happy
Christmas.
holidays.
Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, yes. So there we go, folks. That was our day. Very eventful day. A lot of fun. As I said before, love getting to hang out with these two young ladies. They're a lot of fun. And like I said, they are brilliant supporters of Stephen and Brendan. So it's win-win, basically, whenever I get a chance to go hang out with them. So hope you guys all enjoyed it. Hope you guys, enjoyed getting to see it here on video or through video. Even though maybe you couldn't be there. So I hope everybody enjoyed it tonight. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe, and we'll see you.